Good afternoon, evening, and good morning to everyone. Welcome to the Season of Creation show for the 14th of September. Hope everyone is doing well and that you have enjoyed your Season of Creation so far. We're about halfway through the annual celebration of prayer and action for our common home. I'm Jonathan Radin, a writer with the Global Catholic Climate Movement. And we're so thrilled you're with us. Thank you so much for joining. Be sure to leave in the comments section where you're watching from. And like we said in past weeks, so thrilled that you are with us tonight and today and this afternoon, wherever you are. And we want to use this show to talk about what has happened so far in the season of creation, but also to look ahead during the season of creation as the world's 2.4 billion Christians use this time to take action and use this as an annual celebration of prayer and action for our common home that we know is so desperately in need for our care and our love. So last week was another big week, of course. It's week 2, I suppose. We're headed into week 3 now. And a couple things to note before we get too far along. Wanted to make sure everyone is aware of the Season of Creation website and how to navigate that. Let me bring that up here. There we go. Just got a panic attack. Couldn't find the right screen. But so the Season of Creation show, you can see. There we go. Season of Creation website. There we go. Apologize for the difficulties. Wanted to go through to make sure everyone is kind of aware of where we can find everything too. There's so many great resources to be had on this website. And so many events, so many resources, so many different things that you can find on seasonofcreation.org. So if you haven't gone, it's in various languages. If you haven't gone and checked that out yet, highly, highly encourage you to. We'll go here to see on events, resources. There's resources for many Christian denominations as well, different languages here. We have it in Espanol, Portuguese, Italiano, French, Polish. Different resources here. We'll click on resources. You can see it's in. We have it for different Christian denomination, Anglican, Episcopal, and you can click here. You see all these different things that can help you out as you look to celebrate the season of creation. We know this is a difficult time for many, many people around the world to meet as you would typically do during the season of creation. So these resources are there to help you and your loved ones, your friends celebrate the season, still get in the mood of this season and connect with each other about the season of creation, even if you can't do it as you would have in past years, or if this is your first time celebrating the season of creation. This is a great way to do it as well. Elsewhere on the website, you can learn more about the theme of this year's season of creation, Jubilee for Earth. You can find out other stories of what's been going on during the season of creation, find out what's been happening all over the world, lots of inspiring messages from religious leaders all around the world as well. You can check out the various partners. The most important part of the website is here, the events. Come here to organize events. Strongly encourage you to organize an event. That can be a prayer walk, taking time for a prayer service out in creation, or you can do it if you need to, or you want to do an online event. More than welcome to do an online event as well. Click here to register it. Various tips for organizing a successful event. And you can learn more about it, learn more about having a successful event in this year's celebration guide. Completely free to download, features a lot of great tips. So I would highly encourage everyone to check that out as well. Last week, as we were saying, the Season of Creation webinar. Well, once a week, we'll be doing the Season of Creation webinar, and last week we focused on refueling Africa. Looking at the refueling Africa through ethical investment. It was quite the webinar, I have to say. We had expert speakers from throughout the continent. And once a week, as we did last week we focused on Africa. This week we'll be focused on Latin America. Once a week during the season of creation, we're going to unite in solidarity and learn from world-renowned speakers about how the ongoing crisis of COVID-19 and the climate emergency are affecting different regions of the world. And last week we learned an incredible amount of information about the opportunities awaiting the continent of Africa as it's poised to lead the renewable energy revolution and provide a more life-giving and cleaner future to its 1.3 billion people. We're going to hear a clip shortly here, but first, the continent is the fastest growing on the planet and has the capability to, as you'll find out, to lead the world away from dirty fossil fuels and the rising carbon emissions that scientists say are causing climate change throughout the world. Now we're going to hear from Mohamed Adaw. Mohamed is the founding director of PowerShift Africa. It's a Nairobi-based think tank that works to mobilize climate action throughout the continent. Mr. Adaw was one of the speakers on the panel that led the webinar.
Referred to this continent as one that is blessed with renewable energy. Let me just tell you, I don't think there's any geography in the world, across the world, that is as blessed with renewable energy potential as Africa. But sadly, we're not exploiting that potential. 600 million Africans, 2 out of 3 Africans don't currently have electricity. So this is the continent that is suffering energy poverty. We're still in the dark when it comes to energy. And
again, that was Mohamed Adaw. He's the founding director of PowerShift Africa. It's a Nairobi-based think tank that works to mobilize climate action. So you can see a lot of opportunities in Africa. That's what we heard. Next, we're going to hear from Annabella Lemos of the Justice Ambiental. And Ms. Lemos is the co-founder, campaign coordinator, and board member at the organization, which is the Mozambique branch of Friends of the Earth, an international network of environmental organizations. Here you're going to hear Ms. Lemos talking about the future, and also what we can do right now to keep the momentum that we're building during the season of creation, how we can keep that going every day during the season, but also every day after the season. Let's hear from Ms. Lemos right now.
Let's
go ahead. There we go.
Let me quickly say something about our approach.
We cannot carry on using fossil fuels and many other energy resources. One question, we know what to do. We know what's the ideal and what's the solution. The question is that how can we do it? Like one of the first questions, that how can you change this context of powerful companies? You know, it's a struggle against giants. And I think the only solution is we believe what is the right choice. We know what is energy justice for all and not destroying the environmental. So we just need to carry on to connect to each other, because alone we're not going to change anything. And maybe find ways to stop, as Julie was saying, disinvest, and one maybe we can change.
So there was Annabelle Lemos, and she's obviously saying a similar message that most religious leaders would say, most people working in this or in this type of work. Let's keep going. Let's keep building on this forward momentum that we have. Next, you almost heard from him before, Eugene Fongwa. Mr. Fongwa is the thematic lead for just transition and energy access at the Pan-African Climate Justice Alliance. And he'll talk about his really interesting perspective about how it's not just as Africa and the world looks to have a just transition from fossil fuels. It's not just about having more renewable energy. It's also about impacting the lives of the poor and impacting the lives of the people who depend and need on this energy. Miguel, yes, there is Spanish translation. That will be on the Spanish Facebook page for Global Catholic Climate Movement. And thank you for saying hello, Miguel.
Let me quickly say something about our approach because it's going to be the bedrock of this presentation. We look forward to a continent where there's an increase in renewable energy, but where also the energy systems are transformed and where access to energy is greatly expanded. Our belief is that the problem with the energy sector on the continent is not only a problem of the energy source, of the fossil fuel, but the energy system itself was never built to work for the poor. The decision that we all advocate, we need to take into account those governance issues.
So well said there from Mr. Fongwa. It wasn't built for the poor, and we need to take into account those issues. A very apropos message for what we're trying to do here in the season of creation. Once a week, as we said, we'll have a webinar focusing on a just recovery, and also looking at the COVID-19 crisis throughout the world. So it's a really neat opportunity to kind of dive into, learn about somewhere where you maybe aren't living, or maybe where you are living, but you can learn about what's happening elsewhere throughout the world. This week, it'll be Thursday. We'll be having another Season of Creation webinar. This is focusing on Latin America, the continent of hope. As we say, a just transition for Latin America, the continent of hope. We have Monsignor Sanchez, Peri Diaz, and Misty Paola as our speakers, another panel of experts. So we highly encourage you. You can see the times here: 9 a.m. Quito time, 10 a.m. Caracas, 11 a.m. Buenos Aires, 3 p.m. Lisbon, and 4 p.m. Madrid. I'd highly encourage you to make time. And if you can't make that, be sure to check out the Global Catholic Climate Movement YouTube page for recording later in the day as well. So, again, the need to know, seasonofcreation.org/events is where you can go to register an event, to find events in your area. And Thursday, we'll have another Season of Creation webinar, Just Transition for Latin America, the continent of hope. And now we are going to take us out with a Rosha, the Season of Creation, Psalm 65, read by the Arosha Worldwide family. And they will take us out. Thank you so much for joining us again. We will see you next week at the same time.